Aloha and welcome to the Outrigger Waikiki, where we're here for another Surfer in Residence. My name is Marco, and I'll be the host today in for Tammy. And I just want to say mahalo for the opportunity to be here with not one, but two Smith brothers. We've got Travis and Alex here. Thank you guys for coming down.
Thanks for having us, man. This is beautiful.
You guys are very well-rounded people. So you're accomplished surfers, social media stars, and entrepreneurs with the Sunrise Shack. So let's start with the surf, since we're here looking at this gorgeous ocean. I hear you're self-taught. So where and when and how did that happen? How does one teach themselves this on their own?
Well, lucky for me, my parents came on vacation to Hawaii when I was just a few weeks old, and they stayed in Hawaii.
Wow.
And we had a spot near the ocean. I just remember just watching people surf, for years. And then I think when I was like 3 or 4, probably 4 years old, I saw a board on the beach, and I just went to join them.
You took it.
I just went to join them, and then I don't know, I don't even remember. It was before my memory even.
And now as older brother, the younger brothers just fell suit?
Yeah. Both me and our youngest brother, Koa, were just following him. And I think it was kind of a blessing to not have anybody around us that was experienced in the ocean, because I feel like we just took it to the limit and then found our own limit, Yeah, there's just a lot of funny surfs growing up with all three of us, where we would tell like Alex would be like, you and Koa can't surf, it's too big, and then we would sneak out or whatever. So it was
Nothing
fun.
like someone telling you what you can't do.
Yeah, I remember yelling at Koa on so many waves, telling him, "Don't go!" I thought he was gonna die. I'm the older brother. I still have that today. Actually, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. And now Koa surfs bigger waves than both of us.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, and so you guys obviously just took to it, and the three of you as this mayhem team, were there any other sports or school studies or anything that was kind of tempting you or maybe luring you away from surf or the ocean?
At 6 years old, we just dropped out of school. No, we did homeschool growing up. It was just me and my brothers, and we had a teacher, and we centered our whole lives around surfing. We're so lucky that our parents supported us like that. And we grew up on Kauai, and it was just kind of a magical childhood, honestly. But I don't know, we like to skateboard, and we were kind of up to all kinds of little grom things, just running around, causing havoc, probably.
And at some point, obviously, you got into the competitive world, and you're going up the ranks that way. But at what point did you realize that there was a path, or let's face it, making a living in some way other than in the competitive structure that's already there, that's established, and you guys could find your own way?
Yeah, that was an interesting transition as social media became more prevalent, and sponsors no longer cared about us competing in events. They wanted us to go travel and make videos for them, and it's okay, we'll run with that. It's hard to say no.
That's awesome, because I think of now we've got all these Stacy Peralta docs that are so incredible. And I was remembering back that, with the Bones Brigade VHS tapes was probably the only way that I could think of for somebody who had a professional opportunity to go a different route. I don't know how else somebody in the 80s would have been paid to do a sport and not be on a professional field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now social media has just opened up so many opportunities for people to make careers sideways and leftways or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's great, because before we depend on the surf magazines and the contests for kind of exposure, and they were kind of the gatekeepers. And now it turns out that we're kind of our own media source. We're our own magazines, like we used to have in the surf industry. So it's good. It gives you more freedom. You don't have to really conform to kind of how you used to. Mm-hmm. They kind of wanted you to be a certain way. So now I feel like it's great. There's a lot of freedom. So grateful. I feel like we're not even that big compared to some other people, but it's just so amazing that we get to be a part of it.
But now I do notice that you still compete. So is there something that is in some adrenaline juice that's in that realm that you don't get freestyling, or something, the freestyling that you obviously you can't find in the more formed ways?
Yeah, I feel like it's funny with competing, like, because you're dealing with Mother Nature, the ocean, and, it's like it could be almost flat or it could be really good, and you're always hoping it's really good. And I think it's hard with competition because they have to schedule it so far out in advance. They don't really know how the waves are going to be.
Sure.
But yeah, if you enter a competition and the waves are good, then it's one of the best things ever. It's really fun.
Yeah, Travis just competed at pipe. It was firing 1 foot.
It was pretty bad.
I know everyone was just so stoked with the results for the Eddie this year that
Yeah,
that it
that
was
was
of this
exciting.
epic nature and consistent and been so many years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess you
But
can't plan on that.
That's a great example though, because the Eddie runs every 7 years or
Yeah.
something like that, and that every winter everybody thinks it's gonna run, and then chances are it doesn't, And yeah, it was amazing to see it this year.
But that's interesting you brought up competing, though. I think that's something that I miss, that there's nothing like, winning a heat or getting a good score. And that's the best feeling and almost one of the better feelings in surfing. And I miss having that. I'd like to do that more.
And which is tougher, the competing on an epic day that like you're looking for, where everyone's got these juicy ones to pick from, or competing on like a slop day where you're like, oh man, how am I going to make lemonade out of this?
Yeah, I think competing on a good day, you're just trying to keep yourself calm. You're just so excited.
I feel like that way it's fun, like win or lose.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. At least you get yours.
Yeah, totally.
That is one thing I noticed with surfing is that it's you can go on these points or whatnot, but at the end of the day, there's always the opportunity to be fulfilled in yourself with the ride that you
Yeah.
just had.
Yeah.
One of the things that just really strikes me with your posts is the three of you, is the energy between the three of you. So, did you all move into the social media? Was one of you like the social media guru who was like, this is the way we're going? Or kind of, because there seems to be this real balance between the three of you that you complement each other so well in these podcasts.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like we were just like pretty early on to it. We were just like so curious, and I feel like we were luckily like that kind of age of the first type of people to get into, I'd say Instagram and stuff like that. I remember we first had Instagram pretty much within a few months of it launching, and
Alright.
we were just taking photos of like whatever, like uploading like 5 things a day, and it was just like kind of experimenting, and as it became more serious, we were lucky to be with that kind of momentum. I think I have like 70,000 followers. I'm not that active anymore on it, but I literally got most of my following within like 6 months. I remember I just did these like funny little skits and stuff, and then I just like boom, boom, boom. But it's hard these days, and we have our finger on the pulse with it. Like we post on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the stuff. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all, but technology is kind of making it easier. And yeah, we'll make one piece of content, try to post it across all the platforms, and it's hard to know which one is gonna kind of dominate in the future right now.
It does sound overwhelming, especially when at the end of the day, you want to capture energy and excitement, and then you got to go and do this flip side of this tedious thumb stuff.
I know, it's funny. Yeah, we try to have a team around us that can help with a lot of the tedious stuff, and Alex and Koa make so much creative content. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. That's what I was
Yeah.
going to ask, because the content is just spectacular. The production value. I was wondering how much of it do you do yourself with? I see you guys popping, cameras in your mouths and like going into a barrel. And how much help do you have on the production end?
We're pretty hands-on, honestly, but when our workload increases, we kind of outsource to like people we work with, like editors and filmers. And we film each other too. So it's just like we got a little mini production company kind of.
I figured you must have a good network, because it seems like wherever you guys go, you're like very professionally and incredibly documented. So you can't carry all these people around with you everywhere.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Everybody's trying to create content for themselves or whatnot. Do you have any like word to the wise as far as warnings? I just like see so many people almost getting hit by cars, walking off cliffs, run over by a catamaran, all trying to get that money shot, you know?
I feel like it's constantly changing. There's definitely no like one answer to all of it. And I think in knowing that it's changing all the time, the only way to like learn is to try things. If it doesn't go very well, then you know, but it's really cool when like say for the Sunrise Shack, we'll see that people really love when we kind of do like a close up of the smoothie bowl and like how to make it and different things. So then we'll lean into that a little heavier. But that might not last forever.
Yeah, and I would say try to find that fine line of like who you are authentically and what makes you happy. If you start to do things that are way off course of who you actually are, it becomes like more work. But if it's you want it to be fun.
That is like such a perfect segue because that's what I'm saying. The energy between you guys, it seems so authentic, and particularly in the realm of like lifestyle. And I don't mean, being awesome surfers and being in these wonderful locations. I mean like more of a day to day as far as diet, as far as exercise. You kind of document some of your workouts, or there was some cool stuff with Koa, how to survive, 10-foot falling on your head.
Yeah.
And again, with complimenting each other, you were right there saying, and remember your mantra that you're going to be okay. And he kind of had more of a, I do 10 fast breaths and then I do this. And then you were kind of following up with this state of mind. I got to ask this one just from a personal note. What's with the ice bath at the house?
I guess like to just bring it further back, just coming from like Kauai, I feel like it was very like isolated and remote, and I think like what we thought was just a normal way of life is like what we try to continue today. And I think the ocean really taught us that a lot, but also just being on Kauai, it's so beautiful there. It's like the air is clean, you don't see pollution. It's just like the way you think it should be, And then when you travel other places, maybe you see pollution in like a city or whatever, or if you see a lot of city, it's honestly odd for me still to this day, And I think that tied in with surfing and being so surrounded with the ocean. The ocean is just such an amazing teacher, It can bring so much joy, but it can be really scary and humbling. So, you don't want to have too big of an ego going into the ocean because you could drown. I just think all those factors, like as humbling as the ocean can be, it's like, wow, like how could we best like optimize our own like selves and performance to be able to handle the ocean in kind of extreme conditions, right? And so yeah, the ice bath, sauna, health, fitness, all the stuff to try to be our best selves, and so we can surf in those kind of crazy waves and stuff. And it's just awesome too, because not only will it help that, but it actually just helps your life in every way.
At what point in your life did you kind of come across some of the more mental exercises that would bring you this additional strength? I know you were talking about affirmations and reassurances about that you're going to be okay. Is that kind of something you got turned on to young, or did that come later on because you needed it?
I think when I found transcendental meditation at like 18 years old, and that was really powerful. That kind of opened my mind to there's just so much more there, and there's so much more ability to like control what's going on in your head through just like more of a mindful, conscious approach. And I think that kind of opened the door to like programming a kind of a positive mindset. And yeah, it's kind of endless. There's so many things you can do with that.
You mentioned some very interesting things. One I thought was really positive because you were talking about moderation, meat moderation, but also just moderation in general about your diet, about not seeking out such extremes that are setting yourself up for like food failure, I think was the term you guys used. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more of that about like setting a goal, but being all right to live like a real human,
Yeah, you probably don't want to just like depend on certain foods to feel good. And I've actually struggled with this personally. I've been having extreme diets my whole life, but at the end of the day, to me, the answer is kind of balance. But you definitely want your food sourced from good places. I think you want whole foods. You don't want too many processed things or fried food. Things are too far away from its natural source. So I think at least in my opinion, if you stay kind of in that lane of more whole foods, ideally kind of locally, organically grown, then probably gonna feel pretty good.
I'm always a big fan of a small thing that you can do in a day that has a great impact over time. So something small that you do, on a regular basis that you've noticed a great return on over time.
Yeah, I love this topic. I mean, I think it's really interesting, and that's why we started the Sunrise Shack, because I feel like just a lot of people's beliefs. I mean, like food is so deep in culture, in every culture,
Sure.
for everybody, and like it could be cultural for someone within their family and friends and everything to, eat junk food or fast food or like McDonald's every day or whatever, and it's just like it's definitely like a touchy subject, but I feel like it's like what's more worth it? It's like that flavor you're experiencing, like like having a good time amongst friends, like eating junk food, or like how you feel, and like ultimately how you feel is like how you're gonna treat yourself, how you're gonna treat people around you. You're gonna have more energy. You're gonna be able to be naturally happier. So then, if you think about it that way, it's like, is it worth it to have this 30 seconds of joy to eat this like donut or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
Or is it worth it to just like hopefully feel good all day? Like what's worth it for you? I think for us, we've noticed it's like we try to like feel good all day, and it's not like every day, all the time where we feel good. Like it's hard to feel good all the time, right? But at least we know how to, and I feel like for me, I really exercise that a lot. But kind of like what Alex is saying too, I think on the flip side, it's like we've been down this journey like most of our adult life, and even like as kids, I'd say. But if you go too extreme with health, it's like I won't eat anything at all except salmon. It's like
Right.
only wild caught salmon. Like then if you are out with friends and everyone's grabbing a slice of pizza, or it's just like all these different things, like culturally, it's a super fine balance, because then you could not like you could want that pizza or whatever so bad that it almost is like bringing joy out of your life, and you got to kind of measure that for yourself, and everybody's different.
I think at the end of the day, you just want to, at least for me, like connect like food with how you feel, and notice how that affects you, and maybe don't eat the things that don't make you feel good as much.
So how did you guys make a transition? Because it's one thing to be surfing and making content and eating well personally, but then decide to turn this into a business model, which has to have results that you can present to the public. So what were some of the challenges of like, now you got payroll and rents and and Yelp reviews?
That's Trav.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're the guru on this.
He is the guru.
I don't know if like guru is the right word. I'm learning every day, But I think it was interesting, like just kind of coming back to like where we were raised and stuff. I feel like we didn't really know like what path we were gonna take in life. We were just going with the flow, and I mean, both Alex and Koa are professional surfers, like literally since they were kids. And for me, I was a professional bodyboarder, but there's not much money in that, So I kind of got pretty entrepreneurial, like in my teenage years. I was like, just, I don't know, doing all kinds of things. Like just, we had like a bunch of orange trees in our yard, and I'd sell oranges to the local grocery stores, and just all kinds of funny things. But I feel like we're entrepreneurial. Our parents are very entrepreneurial, and I feel like Sunrise Shack just was something that we tried, and the response was great, like out of the gates. And so I didn't know, it's like 6 or 7 years now that we started, and I didn't know that this is going to be like the path that.
Yeah, it wasn't really planned out. We
Yeah.
just kind of saw the location. We're like, we're just going to make a little cafe. We're
Where was
just
the
going to do
first?
it.
Where was the first one?
At Sunset Beach on the North Shore. Yeah.
And now were you all working, or no? You were leaving it to him. You were just running up a tab.
Kind of both, honestly.
Yeah. No, it like early days are so funny. We just like operated off of a generator. We just had like a Mr. Coffee pot that made like 4 cups of coffee every 15
God.
minutes.
Just like wearing no shoes, no shirt.
Yeah,
just,
I didn't wear
surfers
shoes.
coming through, giving them coffee. It's
So
great.
yeah, it was wild. Like we we were kind of just going month by month, like going with the flow, but it was really growing fast. And so we were trying to scale it like with a generator, it's like, how much can you scale, we eventually got electricity. But then we were actually approached by the Outrigger Hotel. Like they had an opening in the lobby, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this would be a dream, to be in Waikiki. And so we ended up like, yeah, how are we going to pull this off? Like, we don't really have any like, funds to build out a whole location or anything. I didn't even know that this was going to be like ever presented to us. And it was funny. We just like went on Instagram and said like, if there's any friends or family like that would want to like help us grow the shack, like let us know. And we had a bunch of people like reach out and help just like fund this location. So if someone like say restaurant expert or something came to us, the first few months and saw what we had and then like saw where we're at now somehow, like they wouldn't believe that path, like, and we didn't really believe it either, but we were just going for it and just like what's cool and exciting that we could do now. And like we didn't start with most of our menu, we only started with like 2 coffees.
Are there any other like aha moments or a tipping point where either, and this could be just in your life or in like personally or professionally in the water or in business?
For me, I think it was interesting. We found out about like sauna ice bath type of stuff. And I know we were talking about that a little bit earlier, but I think Alex found Wim Hof. Wim Hof is this guy from the Netherlands, and he's just like this crazy guy. He has 27 world records for like a lot of cold exposure type stuff. And I guess he just, I'm not sure how, I think he learned from someone else, but he got this breathing technique that can essentially just keep your core body temperature like stable in a really harsh cold environment.
Really?
Yeah, so he's done like ice baths for over 2 hours, and just he's hiked Kilimanjaro and Mount Everest with no shirt on. Like he's done really out there stuff, and that was just like super inspirational. I feel like he just like blew up, and this is probably like 10 years ago for us. And we were just like so fascinated, like how, like this guy's like a superhuman, like how can someone do this? And so we started testing ourselves with it, and like with meditation we knew from before. I think that helped with the breathing. It's very similar in different ways, and it's really cool. Both of those kind of skills and knowledge help with the ice bath and help with the sauna as well.
And how did you connect with him?
I didn't connect with Wim direct, but I actually went to one of his retreats in Poland. I learned with one of his people there, and they basically got me prepared to hike for 6 hours in the snow with no shirt, and it was freezing. It was snowing, and my whole body was frosted. But through the meditation and the breath work, I wasn't cold.
That's incredible.
And so 20 other people, we all did it together, and it was just completely mind-opening for sure. But I guess to answer your question, for me, I think meditation has totally changed my life, or at least helped me, almost have that aha moment of kind of stepping out of myself, out of my mind, and doing that on a consistent basis has really helped create that buffer. And I couldn't recommend it more. At least for me, it really helps a lot.
Cool. And do you still fast? I remember one post you had been talking about a 6-day fast of just water.
I mean, I know we're talking about like balance is the key, but I've definitely gone through some extremes. Fasting is one of them. And now I'm sort of like anti-fasting. I think eating is important. So I eat breakfast every day. But now we're kind of on an extreme diet now with like we're eating meat and fruit, which is the complete opposite of it all. So it's kind of funny. That's making us feel great. Feel amazing.
A lot of energy.
I don't know. I like to try all these different states of consciousness through diet and all these different techniques.
What was something that you thought was going to be easy that couldn't have been more difficult, that kicked your butt? Something you thought was going to be a phone it in, no brainer, and turned you on your butt?
Probably like the Sunrise Shack.
I knew he was gonna say that for sure.
But like I don't think it would have been as crazy, but then going through a a pandemic and like staying open,
Oh,
you know,
my
like
goodness,
that
yes.
was like a lot for me mentally, but I feel like it made me like more resilient and stronger today. But it was crazy, like we never closed one day during the pandemic.
Wow.
And there was like all the ABC stores, like Burger King, McDonald's, like they were like boarded up and we were open.
Yeah.
And we were doing like $100 a day. Just like there's like maybe some like emergency doctors staying in the hotel, like
Right.
coming to get a coffee or something. But
Yeah, but we were really
was
grateful for
crazy.
Outrigger. They really supported us through
yeah,
that. And
so
we
amazing.
love our location here. It's like so special.
Any intuitive answer to this connection between musicians and music and surf, or musicians and surfers, whatever it may be?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I don't know. I think music and surfing are really similar acts. You know, I think it's a similar form of expression. You know, whether you're on a board or you have an instrument, it's just a way of just expressing yourself. And I don't know why those two things come together so often, but if you find out, let me know.
I do have a theory. After
Yeah.
you give your pitch, then I'll tell you my theory.
Yeah,
It's unproven.
I don't know why, but I feel like the three of us never dove super deep into playing anything. I don't know. I don't know why our parents didn't have kind of a music background or anything either. But we have some really good friends, our really cool friends that are like amazing. And it's one of the coolest things you could do.
My theory is that they both are a way into a space that's total zen, and also they each can open that door to like just adrenaline. You know, the song that could just blow the doors down.
Yeah.
You know, or the song or tone, just a single tone even. I saw you actually. I had to write it down because I wasn't sure. The steel tongue drum. I saw you
Oh,
playing
yeah,
that little thing.
yeah.
Even just a tone.
Yeah.
And I found that extreme in surfing that I didn't find in anything else that I've ever participated in. Just, you can throw this in here. Okay, my favorite place in the world after Hawaii, because of course Hawaii. And it could be a beach, a break, or a people.
Oh man.
In Hawaii or outside?
No,
of Hawaii?
outside Hawaii. So no Hawaii. So because we know Hawaii, we got Hawaii. Hawaii's the best. I think. I moved here from Manhattan, so what do I know? But I am so sold on all three, between the beaches, the breaks, and the culture here. Just blew my
Yeah.
mind.
It's amazing here. It's hard to beat this. It's funny, like every time I travel, like I'm looking forward to going home eventually, you know? That's a funny one.
I hear
And
you.
I think I'm so spoiled here with like the weather. Even if it's like a little chilly or whatever, I'm like, ooh, like I'm not used to this, right? So I definitely am biased towards the tropics, I would say.
Mhm.
I really love Tahiti.
Tahiti.
I'd say that'd probably be the spot for me.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'll just follow that up with Bali, probably
Bali.
Indonesia. Actually tie with Bali and Italy.
Wow.
So it's not a snow-covered mountain peak with a 6-hour hike and no shirt.
No.
That was a one-off.
Yeah, that was a one-off.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Poland. I don't know about that.
Oh, that was in Poland?
Yeah, I kind of want to go back thinking about that, though.
Well, I guess we'll end on how awesome is Hawaii. So,
hard to beat.
thank you guys for coming down.
Thank you so much.
All right, and thanks for joining us for this episode of Surfers in Residence. If you like this Surfer in Residence, then please just subscribe and like those buttons below.